Good evening. I'm Nicole Romito, and here at Private Vista, I'm very excited to have you join us for what I hope will be the first of many live cooking demonstrations. If you're cooking along with me, and I hope you are, let's go ahead and preheat your oven to 425 degrees. And if you haven't already, let's get those lemons outside of the fridge so they can come to room temperature. I have my virtual sous chef, Sean Julian, who would be helping out tonight. She will be fielding any questions or comments that you may have. If you'd like to submit one, please use the comment or question box, which should appear on the right-hand side of your screen. Now, I know we're all excited to be here tonight to celebrate, of course, National Hoagie and National Teachers Day. We were so excited to get this segment out to you that we did not connect the dots between the date of our event, May 5th or Cinco de Mayo, and our menu tonight. If that's the worst thing that happens to me during COVID-19, I'll take it. Now, as any of us know who've been on any type of social media, it's been all about the banana bread, the sourdough starter. Look at my sourdough bread. But what's really been gaining popularity lately are sheet pan dinners. And I have to say that's really what got me excited for the recipe we're going to make tonight. Because even though I love to cook, I am so over the cleanup part of it. And that was well before the quarantining took place. So what we're going to be making tonight is a sheet pan dinner, and it's going to be a delicious lemon rosemary Dijon chicken with a green goddess feta sauce. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to switch the steps. Hopefully you have the recipe, we did send it, but I'm going to start with step 2. And the reason being is I want to be able to get this all on the pan during our time together so you can see how it's coming out. So I've got my russet potatoes. I've already washed them. I'm going to use 3 kind of medium or good sized ones. And what we're going to do, and you can just join me, is we're going to cut them. And you want to get them into about a 2-inch slice or dice, if you will. Don't worry about if it's 2 inches or 3 inches. The key is you want to make sure that they're all relatively the same size so they'll bake evenly. I've got my pan right here, so I'm just going to throw the potatoes on as I am done chopping them. Now, one of the things I've really been enjoying for cooking during the quarantine. Oh, there we go. Oh, whoever had the under, you guys won. I already spilled something. But anyways, one of the things I've been enjoying is really upping my game on substitution. And part of it has been really driven by necessity. I'm not going to the grocery store as often as I was before quarantine, and even when I am getting out there, they may not always have what I have on my list. And the third thing where you really want to work on your substitution is personal preferences. So when I sent the email, I had suggested that if you couldn't find feta or you don't like feta cheese, you could sub in a nice goat cheese or queso fresco. See, there's your Cinco de Mayo tie-in. One of the other things you may sub in, again, because of availability, is a shallot. And we'll be using the shallots when we make the marinade for the chicken, but I'll often sub in shallots, even if I have onions on hand, because I'm not a huge onion fan. I, of course, use them in cooking because they bring so much delicious flavor, but I like the shallot because it is milder and it also has a nice hint of garlic. And garlic is one of my favorite things in life, so you can never get too much of that. Okay, so with that, let's just get these, finish this up. Okay. All right, so we've got our potatoes on our pan. And what we're going to do now is drizzle them with about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to do this by sight, if you will. You can measure it. And you just want to kind of make sure you spread it out. We're going to be stirring them, so you don't need to coat every piece with it. So we've got that. And then we are going to, let me get my recipe here. Then we're going to add that with our tablespoon of sesame seeds. I have to say, when I first read this recipe, I was like, sesame seeds, that seems kind of odd, but believe me, it really makes this dish shine. Again, if you don't have any, it's still going to be quite delicious. So we'll put those on there. Of course, you always want to do salt and pepper, which each layer of the dish. I'm just going to do some nice kosher salt. And then I've got my fresh ground pepper, which of course my hand's a little wet, so that's okay. Right, there we go. Now we're cranking. Okay, now what you want to do is go ahead and stir it so you get everything nicely coated. And once you've done that, then you're going to want to make sure that you have them spread out on an even layer of the pan. For this part of the recipe, it's perfectly fine that your potatoes take up the entire pan. Again, by having one layer, they'll cook evenly and they'll also cook more quickly. All right, so we've got that. Let's pop that into the oven. And then you'll want to set a timer for about probably 20 to 25 minutes, depending on your oven. All of our ovens bake at different rates, so hopefully you know if yours takes longer or it takes slower. Now with that, let's go ahead and we're going to make, let's get the chicken and the marinade. Now, one of the things that, there's few things that freak me out in life, and one of them is raw chicken. Why, might you ask, Nicole? That's because it is so easy for it to cross-contaminate other things in your kitchen, and raw chicken can give you salmonella. Now, I don't know if you're like me. I've been eating a little more, maybe drinking a little more, certainly sitting around a little more. So, you know, might be a nice way to jumpstart the post-COVID body, but that's not on our agenda tonight. So what I like to do is I'm going to be doing my chicken marinating in a Ziploc bag, because then when I'm done, I can just throw out the bag. You can also use, if you have a large bowl or some type of casserole dish, I would recommend it's something like glass, so you can put it in the dishwasher, again, to make sure that it's completely sanitized. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is, regardless of what you're going to marinate your chicken in, have a separate bowl, and let's get the marinade combined first. So this, let's get this out of the way. As you can see, very professional. I have all my ingredients already measured out. We're going to start with 4 tablespoons of olive oil. We're going to have the shallot, which this is what it looks like in its natural state. If you're going to sub in a white or a yellow onion, I would do, you know, depending on the size of it, maybe I would do a 1/2 to a 1/4. If you're using red onion, again, depending on the size, you could probably use about a 1/2 of that. That has a similar flavor profile to the shallot. Of course, as I mentioned, garlic. I think you can never have too much garlic, but the recipe called for 4 cloves. Again, you can also use garlic powder. We've got our fresh rosemary, 2 tablespoons of that chopped up nicely. We have our lemon zest. So that's actually from the rind of the lemon. Oh, it smells so good. I feel like I'm in Italy in the lemon orchard. We've got our fresh squeezed lemon juice. Let's put that in there. We've got our tablespoon of smoked paprika. That's going to give it a nice smoky flavor. And then last but not least, we've got 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. It's going to come together nice with that rosemary and give it a little zip. So let's just get all that in there. Clear my work area here. Okay, great. So let's just go ahead and stir that up so it's nicely combined. whatever type of vessel you're using, just make sure you scrape down the sides, get it all incorporated. Oh, this looks so delightful. I don't know, hopefully yours, in case you aren't, you can see, that's a little hard to do, but we've got a nice, beautiful kind of rosy paprika hue to this. So we've got that. Now let's get your chicken, however you're gonna do it. What I'm gonna do by using the bag, I'm gonna be able to keep my hands clean. I know this is a new activity that none of us have heard about in the last 6 to 8 weeks, but if you are gonna touch the raw chicken to make sure your marinade is coating each piece, you're definitely gonna wanna wash your hands after doing so. I'm gonna do it so I can avoid that and stay on camera with you guys tonight. Okay, so get all that in there. Make sure you get all the love out of that bowl. You're really going to enjoy this. Okay, there. All right, if you're using the bag, make sure you have it fully closed. Not that I've ever had any issues with that in the past, but I've got it sealed. And now it's really easy to kind of just toss your chicken around. Make sure, again, each piece is fully coated. So all of it's receiving the love of that marinade. Okay, great. So once you've done that, we can just set it aside. The recipe is saying we're gonna let it marinate for about 15 to 20 minutes. In my opinion, you can just keep it on the counter while it's doing so. If you decide you wanna let it marinate a little longer, it won't hurt it. And if you do a little longer, you may wanna put it in the fridge again, just for safety reasons. Okay. So now we've got our potatoes in the oven, our chicken is marinating. Let's get our vegetable. I've got this lovely asparagus, one of my favorite springtime vegetables. And what we need to do is, with your asparagus, you have the end, which we want to get rid of. It's very tough, it's very fibrous. No amount of cooking or love is going to make it more tender. It's no bueno. So you can cut it off if you'd like, or if we have some Elwood stands out there, a la Reese Witherspoon, we can do the bend and snap. And what you want to do with that is you're going to hold it kind of towards the base with your 2 thumbs. Let me see if I can get a little closer here. And you're just going to see how it naturally wants to bend. And there's your snap. So let's go ahead and do that with all your pieces. I've prepped most of mine, but again, and there is no right or wrong. So we've got those ready. What I would suggest, what I like to do with the ends is save them. I throw them in a Ziploc bag or a Tupperware container in the freezer. And then when I have enough collected, you can repurpose them. You can make a delicious spring asparagus soup. You could use them in stir fries, whatever floats your boat. But that will be a good use of those ends that we're not going to use. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. All right, and let me just get this here. Okay, just want to clear the area for us. Great. So now what we're going to do, I realize it hasn't been 15 or 20 minutes, so your potatoes are not done. But again, I want to show you how to assemble this. So if you are cooking along, you can, you may just kind of want to watch, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I got my potatoes out, and what we're going to do, whoop, one guy's trying to escape. What we're going to do now is get everything on our pan. Okay, so now here's where, because we're doing a 1-pan dinner, you can push all the guys to one end here. It's okay, they're not going to be in a single layer. They're going to be kind of huddled up here. We've got to make room for our other key ingredients, so get those over there. And then I'm going to use tongs to do this. Again, you can use your hands. I just want to kind of stay on camera with you all tonight. And so what we'll do, okay, let's go ahead. I'm going to get my chicken. when you lay it on the pan, and I'll show you, you want to leave room so that you can put the asparagus in between the chicken. The reason being is the marinade and the juices from the chicken as it cooks, it's going to really pack some powerful flavor into that asparagus and also keep it tender. So I'm just gonna, let's see here. I highly recommend you get all of the marinade out of your bowl or bag. This stuff is so good. And you can just kind of spoon it on top of the chicken. I'm using chicken breasts, and they're boneless and skinless. You could certainly use chicken thighs if you prefer that. Get some dark meat, a little different flavor than the breast. But I tell you, with the chicken breast, this is delightful. So, okay, we've got that on there. Put this over here. Okay, so now we've got our chicken on the pan, our potatoes. Let's add our asparagus. And I'll show you, I know it's a little hard to see, but I'll show you the finished thing, the design, if you will. So, again, remember, if you're moving your chicken with your hands or a utensil, use the same utensil, and then you're gonna wanna get that in the dishwasher. You're not gonna wanna use it at the end to serve. Okay, so I'm gonna do our asparagus in the middle here. I'm gonna kind of try and do, I think it's a fleur-de-lis. I don't know, trying to get fancy. You guys can let me know if that is not the right term. Okay, these guys are not, do this, there we go. Okay, oh, this is very nice. Okay. So now with the asparagus, of course we want to add a little bit of olive oil so it doesn't dry out. So you can just drizzle that, you know, just a teeny, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon or so. I'm Italian, so you can never have too much olive oil or too much garlic if you haven't picked up on that. Got some salt. And then we're gonna do our pepper. Okay, yum. All right, let me get my mitts so I can show you. Here's what we're looking like when, oh, sorry, we're going backwards. And here's what we're looking like when you want to put it in the oven. I'm going to get this in the oven.
Hey, Nicole, while you have that going into the oven, do you have any favorite recipes you want to share for asparagus soup?
Ooh, yeah, I do have a few. I'm certainly happy to send out the links. They're ones I've had for a while, so I can't throw out the cooking site or the cookbook I would have had from them. So I'm happy to send that we can send that as part of the follow-up or to whomever asked the question. But pardon?
Great.
Okay, yeah. Okay, any other questions, Sean, right now?
Nope, you're doing well.
Wow, we got a quiet group here tonight. So that's in the oven. We're going to be, depending on the size of your chicken breast, I've made this recipe with various sizes. If you have pretty large ones and they're thick, I had to bake mine for about 30 minutes. I'm going to put these in, and I'm going to set my timer for about 25 minutes. Okay, so you always want to make sure that you set a timer, because while we don't want to eat undercooked chicken, we also don't want to eat overcooked chicken. Like many things in life, it's a fine line. For chicken breasts, the way to tell they're done is if you have an instant read thermometer, looks like this. When your timer goes off, you can just stick it in the chicken. You're going to want to put it in the thickest part of the breast. If you have bones in them, do not put it by the bone, and make sure it does not go all the way through to the pan, because that'll give you a false reading. Again, we certainly don't want a false result during times like these, but we also don't want it with chicken ever. Okay. The other thing is, if you don't have a thermometer, you can also, again, in the thickest part, do a teeny little incision and then kind of just take a peek in there, and you're going to want to make sure that the chicken is completely white all the way through. All right, so we've got that. We've got our chicken in, ours cooking. Now, what we need to do is we need to make our sauce. Okay, let me just do a little rearranging here. Okay, so I'm gonna use one of my favorite things in my kitchen, and that's my food processor. You can also use a blender. So whichever you have in your own home is fine. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make our sauce. So we wanna take our feta cheese, or if you're using goat cheese, or what was the other one? Queso fresco, excuse me. We're gonna put that in there. Oh, always make sure, because I've done this before, you have your blade in there before you add your ingredients. So we've got our feta. We have got our, oh, that was raw chicken. So let me get a new, okay. We're gonna have additional garlic. We've got our garlic, 1 clove of garlic. Calls for grated. You can mince it or chop it because we're gonna have everything, you know, going in here together. We've got our 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt. I use non-fat. I mean, because why not? Especially when you're doing a sauce and it's gonna have so many other delicious and flavorful ingredients, you won't miss the fat. We've got our fresh squeezed lemon juice. Put that in there. And then we've got some additional smoked paprika and a nice, I like things spicy, so adjust it to your palate. I have a healthy kind of sprinkle of the hot red pepper flakes in there. So I'm gonna put that in there. And then what we're gonna do, who knew? Seemed like I had so much space when I was practicing this, but okay. Now we've got our herbs, because we need to make our green goddess sauce. So I'm gonna take my basil, and if you're using fresh herbs, you're gonna use more, because fresh is not as powerful as dry. Again, if you're using dried, perfectly fine. Use what's on hand or what you could find in the grocery store. If you ever have the choice or you're looking, always go fresh. It's just, you can just tell the taste is so much better. Oh, the smell, it's like a delightful little herb meadow that I'm in my house. Got my dill, my parsley, and my basil. Just gonna go ahead. With this, you don't need to worry about your exact measurements, just get in the ballpark. Just gonna loosely or roughly chop these, if you will, because again, they're gonna get mixed in when we process them. Oh, I'm telling you, I wish you guys were here with me. This smells so good. Okay, all right, so we've got that all mixed in. Now we're gonna add that to your blender or processor. Okay. And let me just check, I'm guessing, okay, great. So this is gonna make some noise, so you may wanna go ahead and put me on mute. For those of you who know me, I know you wish you had that option in real life, but you don't. All right, let's go ahead and get this blended. And then what you'll notice is a lot of the goodies have gone to the side. So you're gonna wanna just scrape it down. Get it back kind of mixed in all towards the blade again. And let's give it a little more combination here. Okay, I think that looks pretty good if you ask me. All right. Let's get this on.
Hey, Nicole, we have a question about the green goddess dressing.
Sure, what is it, John?
So are all green goddess dressings made with the same ingredients, or could you substitute it with green goddess dressings that's store-bought?
Sure, you absolutely, I would say with any recipe, there's gonna be some key components. So if you wanted to, let me answer the question at hand first. You absolutely could sub it with a pre-made or a bottled green goddess dressing. I think you'll still get, you know, kind of the same flavors of the recipe. I know I really like to cook, and I'm a little bit kind of, they have a range of everything. I'm way over here. I love to make everything from scratch. I also understand not everyone has the same love of cooking nor the same amount of time. So you absolutely could use either a bottle dressing, or if you find like a prepared dressing, maybe if you have like a specialty food markets, or Whole Foods might even have that. Okay, that's a great question. Keep them coming. The more interactive, the better, because I'll sit here and talk at you guys all night. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is, obviously our meal is not cooked, but like any self-respecting person doing a live cooking demo, they've already made one ahead of time so you can see what the final outcome will be. So just give myself a little room here. Okay. Oh, this smells so good, you guys. I hope, you know, your house is already starting to smell good. Okay, sorry, so here's what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. You can just see all the lovely juices. The chicken is a gorgeous shade. So I'm gonna put that here. And if there are any other questions, please feel free to interject those, Sean. I'll make sure I'm covering everything here. Okay, I, of course, before, since this is already ready, checked for the temperature so that I'm not going to open myself.
Nicole, what would you say the serving size is for this recipe?
Oh, that's kind of a loaded question. Because I think portions are such a, I know they say like, right, like this is a fist is like a serving of meat. I don't know about you guys, but I would be hungry in an hour if that's all I ate. But generally speaking, they do say that for a meat protein, you want to do about the size of your fist or like a deck of playing cards. I would probably say I'll plate this and then show you. In my opinion, this would be like one serving. But generally speaking, for like a chicken breast, maybe like 4 to 6 ounces. If you're doing, yeah, for a chicken breast. So if you're doing chicken thighs, those generally tend to be smaller. So you might be able to do like 2 of those as one serving because they're a lot smaller. Great, these are all great questions. All right, so what we're gonna do, oh, this asparagus, I tell you, it's like soaked up all of these delightful juices and marinade. And I know it's a little hard with the angle to see what I'm doing, so let me show you. I'm gonna do as a nice base, kind of like an iron cross or an X marks the spot with the asparagus. Then we're gonna go ahead and get our chicken breast, which these that I'm cooking with, I would say are probably slightly larger than what a recommended serving would be. When you're doing your potatoes, if you notice that they're looking a little dry, when you pull them out, you can freshen them up by just drizzling some olive oil over them, and then that'll kind of revive them, if you will. Okay. All right, I think that looks pretty good. So here's how I would be presenting this. Let's see, so I cannot, there we go. All right, appreciate it. As I said, my sous chef is virtual, so I appreciate everyone's patience with this. If you want to see anything, just let Sean know and she'll share. So we've got our dinner plated. And of course, now we've got to have our drink. I'm going to be drinking a nice chilled Sauvignon Blanc. You could also do a Pinot Noir. You could also do, I feel like all times call for bubbles. So Prosecco or Champagne, really you can do whatever works for you. So with that, I'm going to say cheers to you. Let's have a sip of that. Okay, let's try a bite of this. Perfectly cooked, white all the way through, but still juicy. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I took a little too big of a bite. I hope you'll be enjoying your meal in your own home soon. If there are any other questions or comments, please feel free to submit those now and I'll do my best to answer them.
I think we forgot one thing, Nicole.
Yeah.
What do we do with the green goddess sauce?
Oh my gosh, I knew. That's like my favorite part. Okay. So you can tell that I am not a professional cooking instructor. I just play one on TV. And it looks like I won't be giving up my financial advisor job anytime soon. But that's okay. Thank you, Sean. So what we would have done is you're just gonna take it right from your blender or thing, just kind of do a dollop on top. And then I'm literally gonna just kind of move the spoon forward and then back. And because the chicken is hot, it's gonna kind of help the sauce. It won't completely melt into like a broth type consistency, but it'll be warm enough that it will help it spread evenly. And I have to tell you, do not do what I did and just forget the sauce, because it really is what pulls this dish together. Thank you, Sean. You've been an excellent virtual sous chef. So with that, we'll stay on for a couple of minutes. We're doing, oh yeah, good, we're right on time. I just want to say, you know what, up until that faux pas, I was going to use this video for my audition for Food Network. Clearly, I need to do a few more run-throughs. As you can tell, I really do enjoy cooking. It's one of the ways that I'm able to show my love for the people who are important in my life. And it is also part of my own private Vista. Not only today by being able to, this is how I take care of those in my life, but also too, as I look forward at some point down the road to my next chapter, who knows, maybe you will see me and say, hey, I knew her back when she was just getting started. With that, again, myself, all of us at Private Vista want to thank you for taking time out to join us tonight. Please stay, we on Facebook and LinkedIn, we will be posting, we have a lot of other fabulous virtual events planned for May and then future months. If you're on our email distribution, keep an eye out there, as we always do send the invites directly to your inbox. Let's see.
A few last questions, Nicole.
Perfect.
That
That's
came
great.
in.
Okay.
One, are any of the portions, are you able to cook anything in advance? So could you do the potatoes in advance or the chicken in advance?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say if I was doing this, not trying to get it all done in 30 minutes, I would absolutely do the chicken in advance, because then it can be in the marinade longer. And again, it just absorbs all the goodness. You can marinate chicken overnight, or, if you want to do it in the morning before you, I was going to say go to work, but these days before you log in, your commute to the living room, but you can do it in the morning so it can marinate all day. And then if you were trying to, maybe if you were wanting to have it prepped for when you were going to eat with your family, or again, flashing forward, having people over for dinner, I would probably still suggest that you could bake the potatoes ahead of time. So those, again, on their own are going to be about 20 minutes. So you could do that. I would leave them in a single layer on the pan and then take them out of the oven, because if you mound them together like you do for the second part of the cooking, they're going to start steaming and they're going to lose some of that nice crunchy texture you'll get on it. So you could have the chicken marinated ahead of time. You could pre-cook the potatoes, and then assemble everything. And really, then you could have dinner on the table in about, I would say 25 minutes, just to be safe. You can also make if you're not gonna buy the green goddess dressing already made, you can certainly make that in advance. That you could probably do even a day or two ahead of time. If you're doing that, I would probably put it in some type of airtight computer, excuse me, not in your computer, in an airtight container. So again, just to keep the freshness in there. And then that'll give it more time for the flavors to meld as well. Great question.
Awesome. Last question that came in. Do you have a favorite type of cookware? For example, Teflon or triple clad?
Oh, good question. I like the Teflon or the no stick, mainly because I have to do, not only do I do I live alone, so I get to do all the cooking. Yay! I have to do all the cleanup. And I find that if you get good quality with the no stick coating, you still get a nice pan that's going to transmit your heat evenly, but it's a heck of a lot easier to clean up. And one thing I'm really specific about is I don't put any of my pots or pans or knives in the dishwasher. I know most dishwashers have like a pot and pan heavy duty cycle. I don't know, I just feel like things like that, it's gonna reduce the life and it could beat it up a little more than it's worth. Otherwise, I would say like Staub, Le Creuset, I know they're expensive, but you buy those pieces and they will last you a lifetime. So they are good investment pieces. Any other questions?
Okay, I think that is it.
Great. Well, again, everyone, thank you so much. I appreciate you spending part of your day with me. For those of you who were cooking along, or even if you wanted to watch first and then you're going to make the recipe, would love to just know how it went. Send a picture. Let me know if you did some personal substitutions. But I really hope you and your family, or if you're like me, cooking for one, you know what, enjoy. So thank you very much. Everyone stay safe and stay healthy. And again, all of us at Private Vista, thank you for your trust and confidence in us and for spending some time with us today. Cheers.